here, and my dog. But anyways, sorry about the disappearance for a little bit. I know I was gonna do a birthday stream, but I decided not to because I was busy building my Lego Ecto One, which I will show off in another video. I'm not gonna make a dedicated video to it because I don't want to, but I will make a video with it in it. But in the meantime, I've bought a couple games, including Persona 5 Strikers for the Switch, and I decided, you know what, I want to get Persona 5, so I bought that as well. And I plan on doing a video with both of these as a joint video, because there's no way I'm doing two separate. But the problem is, both of these are JRPGs with like 200 plus hours. Yay! But in all seriousness, I am looking forward to beating these games. And I'm also going to do a full Metal Gear Solid review of all the mainline games. Sorry about my cat, he's being bad. But I'm currently buying a couple stuff. I've bought a lot of stuff off eBay. I plan on doing a video of some of those, and I'm currently buying stuff on eBay. So, like the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection and all that. So I plan on doing a review of every mainline series Metal Gear game, except for like 5, because I don't want to do 5 personally. Basically every game that's included in that collection, plus Metal Gear Rising, because why not? But yeah, this includes Metal Gear Solid 4, which is an amazing game. I love the game. I just have a couple games that's to me to show off. But amazing game. But that's not what this video is about today. This is a JoJo video, so of course you're gonna read the title, but in case you didn't, sorry if you don't like JoJo. Don't leave, please. You should watch JoJo. It's a good anime. Solid 8 out of 10. Would recommend. Not my favorite. That goes to Assassination Classroom. It's strange. JoJo takes over your life, if you will. Like, JoJo wasn't my first, it's not gonna be my last. It's not my favorite by any means. It's an okay anime. It's decent. It's just, but whenever I think of anime, I think of JoJo. Whenever I think of making a reference, I think of JoJo. It's kind of sad. Because, there's animes like Naruto that I also really like. Good anime. Just too much filler. But, like, I don't make any Naruto references. Yeah, I'm always making JoJo references. Why is that? I don't know. JoJo is a poison, and you should take it because it's a good poison. But anyways, don't let it be your first anime either. If you're gonna start with the anime, start with something simple, basic. Naruto, One Piece, stuff like that. I haven't watched One Piece. I refuse to, by the way. No. Anyways, so recently, or not recently, but I finished part 3 a little bit ago. I slugged through it. It took me a good couple months. There's just something about it. I started part 3 at the beginning of quarantine. I remember I was like, I've started part 1. I've gotten nowhere with it. I have all this time on my hands. So instead of watching South Park, I should watch JoJo. I finished part 1. I'm like, oh my god, no, Jonathan. I won't spoil. And then I'm like, okay, this is so sad. I took a day off from JoJo. I just let it rest. And then I started part 2. I'm like, okay, this is ready to go. I fell in love with part 2. Part 2 is still my favorite. Amazing. And then, I'm expecting something great from part 3. This is where stands are introduced. I'm imagining, like, so much cool things with an older Joseph Joestar. Like, Harmon and stands. Like, oh my god. Holy shit. It's gonna be awesome. It starts off great. I'm loving it. I'm like, oh, Star Platinum, badass. Joseph Joestar, Hermit Purple isn't the best stand for him, but it can work. He's a trickster. He's one of the smartest characters we've ever seen in JoJo. Not only that, but Hermit Purple has been said to be literally Harmon as a stand. And even said that Joseph has had it since part 2, he just didn't awaken it till part 3. So this is good things, you know, like, oh, okay, we can see some cool things from Hermit Purple. I continue watching. Episode 12 was neat, cool callback, and that's it. Nothing else. It hurt. I love Joseph, and I see all those instances where they could have put a perfect reference, not even a reference, just fan service. Like one of the episodes, the stand user can mimic his face and voice and height and all that to a different character. Perfect for Joseph to say, "Ha! I know it wasn't you. You did this or this or this." May I remind you that this is the same character who could tell what a person did for the entire day up to that point, judging by what they wear and the stains on their clothes, like even the tiniest details, and could predict something as random as speech. And he couldn't fucking tell his grandson's imposter. You can imagine how much that hurts. But you know what? Whatever. It happens. Whatever. Jotaro is one of my least favorite JoJo. Was my least favorite. Because he was supposed to be the cool guy, but they gave him no personality. And when they tried character development, they didn't try until the very end. And, like, they almost made a redemption with me in part 3. Like, I was starting to like him. He was growing on me. You know, I finished it. I'm like, okay, the final battle was awesome. I loved Dio. I did have complaints with him not using his vampire powers, but at the same time, he had to go easy on him because he was trying to preserve his body. Not only that, but he didn't even fully conquer Jonathan's body till the very end of the fight. So whatever, I can let him go. Fine. So I'm going to part 4 thinking, okay, look how they massacred my boy Joseph again. I have low expectations. I started, I watched the first 2 episodes, decided to give it a rest, and recently, this was a bit ago by the way, and recently I'm like, I should try it again. It's been a bit, part 6 just got announced. I want to go ahead and finish the anime. That way I could either start the manga or at least like be caught up, you know? It's good to be caught up. That way I can't be spoiled with anything else in part 7 or 8, because it's already been spoiled the hell out of for me. Very sad. So I do part 4. I watch it, I get hooked, I binge it in 2 days. I fell in love. It's not my favorite part, but let's just say my expectations were blown out the water. First of all, they redeemed Jotaro for me. Part 3 Jotaro was supposed to be this cool, calm character who wasn't smart, or he was smart, but like, he wasn't intelligent smart. He was just able to quick think properly smart. You know, analyze stuff. They didn't do that very well in part 3. Part 4, they did it amazingly. We see him able to tell a character, like, this is Joseph Joestar part 2, this is Jotaro part 3. You know, there's a difference, obviously, but they're pretty damn close. Like, holy shit. And then I expect Joseph to be, you know, like, holy shit, just this time he's an old man. Like, not just 60s old man, like, full-on old man. But they did it better, because they showed the part best about him, his heart. He isn't in very much episodes, and I think, oh god, when he is, it's gonna hurt. No, I love seeing him. Because his parts are just like, this doesn't feel like Joseph, but at the same time it does. This feels like if Joseph was a 70-year-old old man with Alzheimer's or some shit, senile. It feels like Joseph, it does. Not the same Joseph I know, but you get the point. Good. So, you know, it's just, I fell in love. And this is, like, this video is just reviewing the parts, like an in-depth review, not just like, oh yeah, this is good, this was good, this was good, you know. And I've already kind of did the quick part, so if you just wanted to know, like, my thoughts on each part, there you go. Part 1, really good. Part 2, god tier, amazing, I loved it. Lord Cars is my senpai. Daddy Cars. Part 3, It's good, it's okay, but just not good compared to the other parts. It's not bad. The action scenes are amazing. I love the gore. It's just story wise, it's one of the weakest, easily. And part 4 it was amazing, really good, second best in my opinion. And part 5 is said to be not the greatest, so I'll have high hopes though. I do. Anyways, so this is the in-depth part. We'll start with part 1. It's short, it obviously is, but still really good. They somehow, in this 8 episodes, they encapsulate the perfect little spoilers. By the way, heavy spoilers. They get. I can't explain it. Jonathan, I love Jonathan. Jonathan is some people's favorite, but no matter who you are in the JoJo community, you love Jonathan. He's a good boy. He had one purpose. He just wanted to do one thing. He wanted to save his brother Dio. He wanted to end his terror. He was upset about it, but whatever. And his death is JoJo has a great. No matter what character they make you feel for their death, even Dio with the fake out death in part 1, they made you feel for him because he was with Jonathan. It's like you really knew Jonathan had a pure soul when he could love a monster Dio. And it goes on to part 6, Dio causing some of the worst events in JoJo history across the multiverse. Slight spoilers there. But anyways, so, and it goes even further because Dio is the one who caused parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, plus the games. So, Dio literally caused the end of a universe. The end of his son, his grandson, his everything, his entire bloodline, plus more. And he still loved him like a brother. Because in the end, he was his brother. It's so good. Amazing. And then part 2 comes along. Part 1, it hugged you. It made you tear up a bit. Part 2 fucking grabbed your heartstrings and pulled them so fucking hard. Caesar's the saddest fucking death in JoJo history, and I'm upset they don't ever mention it again. Like, give Joseph some PTSD. He's his best friend just fucking died, and then he saw Cockyween die in front of his eyes, and he's just like, oh shit, man, glad that wasn't me. No, Joseph would be having it PTSD, like, not again. Have him feel guilt and remorse in part 3. Have him feel like this was his fault, because in a way it was. Have him feel like, holy shit, my best friend died because of me, and have that affect him in part 3. But part 2 was just amazing. I love Lord Cars. I love Wamu, the Man of Honor. It was about 21 episodes or so, and it was perfect. It didn't feel stretched out. It didn't feel too short. Parts 1 and 2 feel the perfect length. It's just, it doesn't feel like they're stretching it out either. It feels like that, if anything, they're holding back, which is usually a bad thing, but in this situation, it's a good thing. To leave some things open-ended. Like, we know Lord Cars created the mask, the stone mask, but we don't know how. Not only that, but it still stays in the realm of vampires, which the show was built off of. Fighting vampires. Remember that? Remember when JoJo was about vampires? That was simple times, But part 2 is the best, in my opinion. Many people don't agree, but that's just me. And then you have part 3. I don't hate part 3. I have a strong dislike of Joseph in part 3, and JoJo in part 3, but the other characters are good. I'm gonna rant about part 3 right now, so skip about like 5 minutes ahead in the video if you don't want to hear it. Anyway, let me talk about how they ruined Joseph Joestar again. So I don't mind the stand. that they can make that work. It's just the fact that he gave up Harmon. That's not Joseph. If anything, him seeing Caesar on his eyes, that would drive him become better. And it at least give a better excuse than, oh, he didn't need it anymore for fighting. Like, give us like, oh, once Lisa died, he just couldn't do it anymore. Like something like that. Something actually compelling. Instead of, oh, he just didn't want to anymore. Like seeing his best friend die in front of his eyes and then almost dying to the same man, but using his wits would make him want to achieve Harmon, like train more in Harmon. If anything, like this doesn't make sense. He would, and then in part 3 we see him like not mention Caesar at all, not mention part 2 at all. Joseph would be the man to be like, yo, Dio's one fucking weakness other than the sunlight is Harmon. Now, like, I don't mind he didn't teach him to Stardust Crusaders, that's fine. Like, now, we don't have enough time to teach you Harmon. That shit takes time. But what I do have time for is Harmon Overdrive, Like, at least you don't have Joseph ended off. That makes sense. Like, this is for Caesar, Harmon Overdrive, or even classic Sunlight Yellow Overdrive, Have Jojo lure him in, like, yeah, dude, I don't know, man, like, Joseph wouldn't just move on his life, like, oh, everything's fine. He would feel guilt and remorse, or that's what he should have done. Of course, like, that's not what he canonically did, so I can't say that's what he would have done. But it's out of character. It really is. It hurts seeing your favorite character. And this is how you know JoJo's a good show, when it has people like me, like, invested in it to the point of this. But part 3, I should move on from Joseph now and talk about the other characters. You have the Stardust Crusaders, my boys. Avdol, the man, the legend, the myth, the legend. I like his fire. That's an interesting concept. This is early stands. Like, this is the first part stands are introduced, so there isn't anything too wacky and crazy like we see in part 4 and 5. But it's still neat. We don't have to wrap our heads around giant stand abilities. We just see, ooh, his stand can breathe fire. His stand is sword. His stand is gun. It's simple. And one of my favorite lines in part 3 was, did you just try to kill me with a gun? I like you. From Dio. But Kakuin is senpai. He's amazing. I love him. And his death is the second saddest in JoJo history, in my opinion. Right behind Caesar. And I swear it would have been perfect if Joseph Yoda, Kakuin, Caesar, and like, as much as I hate on part 3, it really was still good, Kakuin made me cry. He did, and Avdol was sad. Iggy, that hurt. Just Iggy. I'm not crying. Oh fuck, I am crying. But Iggy was just so sad. His stand acted on his own because it's part of his soul. He literally didn't think about saving Polnareff's life. I know I'm crying over an anime, but I don't give a shit. But it overall was still good. And then you have part 4, really good. Part 4 was excellent, I will say I prefer the character development in part 4, but, I will say, before I get into it, I will say, part 3, I felt like was stretched out. They could have easily had a 20 episodes. You didn't have to go through the entire journey. It's like the only part I feel like for this. So you have part 3 where it feels like it was stretched out, and then part 4, I would be perfectly fine with it having more episodes. I wish I had more of part 4, Like, the story doesn't feel like it was fully expanded. Like, they gave a quick rundown. They speedrun part 4. Still amazing. It's the only part I feel that way. Maybe part 2, but at the same time, that ruined the pacing, you know? So take that as a compliment. But, though I prefer the character development in part 4, I will say, fucking Rohan has nothing on Kakyoin. Echoes has nothing on Study Platinum. Or, Hierophant Green. You know, Silver Chariot. And I have to say, part 5 and 6 have run spoiled for me. So, Silver Chariot Requiem is badass. It is. I love it. But, whatever. So, you know, we've... I forget the character's name, so I do. I know there's Shosuke, there's Rohan, there's Kira, or Killer Queen. Amazing stand, by the way. I love Killer Queen. Crazy Diamond's a bit weird for me, and I will say part 4 is weird in the sense of it's the first part to have censored stand names, as in like copyright laws are different in Japan than the U.S. So in Japan they could get away with calling Killer Queen stand Killer Queen based off the Queen's song, but they couldn't do that in the U.S. So they changed it to Deadly Queen. Same with Echoes, so they changed it to Reverb. Crazy Diamond was changed to Shining Diamond. And you know, I have to look up the characters' names, so that shows you something. If I have to look up the characters' names. Sorry, like, it's good, it's really good. Shoot. I just had them, like, I don't think, it's not the part, it's just me having a brain fart, because I was just remembering their names, too. Like, having a brain fart. Shoot. Wikipedia load, I don't care. Koichi. Koichi. There we go. Koichi. Yeah. So, Koichi, of course, the little man. That part 4 is just good. It was really good. Part 4 has the least to say about since I just finished it. And it's good, it just doesn't make you think, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but, you know. Part 1, 2, and 3, I all had to take a break from. I like, had to separate between parts. Just to let my brain ravel what happened. Let my body process, you know? Let my body go through the stages of grief. And that didn't happen in part 4. It's not necessarily, like I said, not a bad thing. It's just, it's one of the weaker parts story-wise. It's more character focused, and yet I can't even remember the characters. That's just me, though. That's nothing to do with the part. But like they cycle through 2 main villains, with the first one being executed like episode 2. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Part 1, 9 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. It could have been a tad bit better, but it's not. It's to the point where I can't even add any complaints. Part 2, 10 out of 10. Perfect. Amazing. Mwah. Amazing. Part 3, 7.5 out of 10. It was above average, but just by this much. And that's just of Kakyoin and Polnareff and Eggy. That's the 3 things stopping it from being a 7 or even a 6. Part 4, 8. They redeemed Jotaro in my eyes. Jotaro's a lot better in part 4. Like, I actually like him in part 4. Like, oh, yeah, Jotaro's back. Woo. I'm saying, woo, Jotaro's back in the episode. Like, that's big. But, yeah. That's my JoJo ranking. I'll review part 5 when I get there. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not at the same time. But anyways, be looking forward these game reviews. Yeah, 3 PS3 and just a Switch game, so be looking forward to that though. I'll definitely be reviewing those games, and I might be streaming some Jump Force in the future. So look forward to that. Anyways, Candy Show Cow here. Give me your money. Goodbye.